Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. I was shocked when I found out that my ex-wife Mili, who cheated on me, is turning my girlfriend Sarah against me. Mili tells her that I am the one who cheated on her, beat her, and did nothing around the house. Sarah doesn't believe her, but this can't go on any longer. First, we need to find out why she's doing this and then come up with a plan to teach her a lesson, and I've decided that. It's a cool, crisp evening in early June. The streetlights flicker on as the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the neighborhood. I stand in the kitchen, the faint aroma of coffee lingering in the air, staring at my phone. The latest message from Mili stares back at me, its venomous words still echoing in my mind. I'm going to make sure she knows the real you, the text reads, the malice practically dripping off the screen. I run a hand through my hair, trying to push back the growing frustration. This has to stop. I hear the front door open and the familiar sound of Sarah's footsteps approaching. She steps into the kitchen, her face lighting up with a warm smile when she sees me. "Hey, babe," she says, wrapping her arms around my waist. "How was your day?" I force a smile, leaning down to kiss her forehead. "It was all right. How about yours?" She pulls back slightly, her eyes searching mine. "It was good, but I ran into Mili today." My heart skips a beat, and I feel a cold knot of anxiety forming in my stomach. "Oh, what did she say?" Sarah hesitates, chewing on her bottom lip. "She said some pretty nasty things about you, but you know I don't believe her, right?" I nod, trying to keep my voice steady. "I know, Sarah, but this has to stop. We can't keep letting her meddle in our lives like this." Sarah tightens her grip on my waist, her eyes fierce. "So what do we do?" I take a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. First, we need to find out why she's doing this. And then, we come up with a plan to stop her. Sarah's eyes narrow slightly as she considers my words. How do we even start? I pull out my phone, showing her the latest message from Mili. She's been texting me non-stop, trying to provoke me. Maybe we can use that to our advantage. Sarah nods, determination flashing in her eyes. "Okay, let's start by gathering as much information as we can. If we can figure out her motivations, we'll have a better idea of how to handle this." We sit down at the kitchen table, our heads close together as we scroll through the messages, looking for any clues that might explain Mili's behavior. As we work, a plan begins to take shape in my mind. The next morning, I'm woken by the insistent buzzing of my phone. Squinting against the early light, I see another message from Mili. "Enjoying your new life? Don't forget who you really are." I sit up, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. Sarah stirs beside me, her hand reaching out to rest on my arm. "Is it her again?" she asks, her voice thick with sleep. I nod, showing her the message. We need to get ahead of this before it spirals out of control. Sarah sits up, stretching. Let's confront her. Maybe if we call her out on her lies, she'll back down. I consider her suggestion, but something about it feels off. I don't think she'll just stop because we confront her. We need to understand what's driving her. There has to be a reason she's so determined to ruin our relationship. Sarah sighs, running a hand through her hair. "You're right, but how do we figure that out?" I think for a moment, then an idea strikes me. What if we talk to some of her friends? Maybe they know something we don't. Sarah nods slowly. "It's worth a shot. Do you still have any contacts who might be willing to talk?" I pull out my phone, scrolling through my contacts. I might. Let me make a few calls. After a few minutes, I find a number that might help. I'm going to call Jess. She was always close to Mili. Maybe she'll be willing to give us some insight into what's going on. I step out onto the back porch, needing the fresh air to clear my head. The morning is still cool, the dew clinging to the grass. I dial Jess's number and wait as it rings, my heart pounding in my chest. Finally, she picks up. "Hello." Jess's voice is cautious but not unfriendly. "Hey Jess, it's Michael. I hope I'm not calling at a bad time." There's a brief pause. "Michael? Wow, it's been a while. What's up? I take a deep breath. I need your help. It's about Mili. Her tone shifts, becoming guarded. What about her? I know this might be awkward, but she's been trying to turn my girlfriend Sarah against me. She's spreading lies, and it's causing a lot of problems. I was hoping you might know why she's doing this. There's a longer pause this time. When Jess speaks again, her voice is softer. Michael, I don't know if I should get involved. Mili's my friend. I understand, Jess, and I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important, but I just need to know if there's something I'm missing. Anything that might help me understand why she's doing this. Jess sighs. All right, Mili's been going through a tough time lately. She's been really bitter and angry since the divorce. She blames you for everything, and I think she's having a hard time moving on. But why go after Sarah? Why lie about me like this? She's convinced herself that you're the villain in her story. I guess she thinks if she can turn Sarah against you, it'll somehow justify her feelings. It's twisted, I know, but that's the best I can come up with. I nod, even though she can't see me. Thanks, Jess. I appreciate you telling me this. It helps. Just be careful, Michael. Mili's not in a good place right now. I don't know what she might do. I will. Thanks again. I hang up and head back inside, finding Sarah at the kitchen table, sipping her coffee. Jess thinks Mili's just bitter and angry about the divorce. She's convinced herself that I'm the bad guy, and she's trying to justify her feelings by turning you against me. Sarah frowns. That's really sad, actually, but it doesn't excuse what she's doing. No, it doesn't, but at least we have some idea of why now. Sarah looks thoughtful. So what's the next step? I sit down across from her, running a hand through my hair. We need to confront her, but not directly. If we push her too hard, she might escalate. We need to show her that her actions won't have the effect she wants. Maybe if she sees that she can't come between us, she'll stop. Sarah nods slowly. All right, but how do we do that? I think for a moment, then a plan starts to form. We need to make it clear to Mili that her lies aren't working. We need to show a united front. Maybe if she sees that her attempts are futile, she'll back off. Sarah smiles, a determined glint in her eye. I like it. Let's make sure she knows we're solid and that nothing she says can change that. Over the next few days, we start implementing our plan. We make sure to post pictures and updates of us together on social media, showing how happy and strong our relationship is. Whenever Mili sends a message, we respond calmly and assertively, making it clear that her lies aren't having the desired effect. It's not easy. Each message from Mili is like a jab to the ribs, a reminder of the bitterness and anger she's harboring. But with Sarah by my side, I feel stronger, more resolute. We can get through this. We have to. One evening, about a week into our plan, I get a call from Mili. I answer it, putting it on speaker so Sarah can hear. What do you want, Mili? I ask, keeping my voice steady. There's a moment of silence, then she speaks, her voice cold. I saw your little display on social media. Do you really think that's going to stop me? We're not trying to stop you, Mili, I say calmly. We're just living our lives. Your lies won't change that. You think you can just move on and be happy after everything you did to me, she snaps. Mili, I didn't cheat on you, I didn't beat you, and I certainly didn't do nothing around the house. You know that's not true. Liar, she screams, the venom in her voice unmistakable. Sarah steps in, her voice calm but firm. Mili, we're not going to let you come between us. Whatever you're trying to do, it's not working. Please, just move on. There's another long silence, then Mili hangs up. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Sarah takes my hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. We're doing the right thing, Michael. She'll see that eventually. I nod, hoping she's right. This isn't over, but at least we've taken the first step. Now we just have to keep moving forward, one day at a time. The tension in the air is palpable, but for the first time in weeks, I feel a glimmer of hope. With Sarah by my side, I know we can face whatever comes next. Together, we'll find a way to stop Mili's campaign of lies and reclaim our peace. And I've decided that, no matter what, I won't let Mili's bitterness destroy the happiness Sarah and I have found. The next morning, the air is thick with the promise of rain as I step out to get the newspaper. The neighborhood is quiet, save for the distant hum of traffic. I bend down to pick up the paper, my mind still lingering on the unsettling call with Mili the previous night. As I turn to head back inside, I see our neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, waving from her porch. She's an elderly lady, always ready with a warm smile and a plate of cookies. Today, however, her face is lined with concern. "Good morning, Michael," she calls out, her voice carrying easily across the lawn. "Morning, Mrs. Thompson," I reply, trying to muster a smile. She walks over, her step slow but determined. "I couldn't help but overhear some of what happened last night. Everything all right?" I hesitate, unsure how much to divulge. We're dealing with some issues. My ex-wife, Mili, has been causing problems. Mrs. Thompson's eyes soften with sympathy. "I'm sorry to hear that. If there's anything I can do to help, you just let me know." "Thank you. We're handling it, but I appreciate the offer." As she heads back to her house, I feel a little lighter. It's good to know that we have support, even if it's just from a kind neighbor. Later that day, Sarah and I meet up with our friends Mark and Lisa at a local cafe. The place is bustling, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods filling the air. We find a table near the window, away from the crowd. Mark, a burly guy with a booming laugh, claps me on the back. "Hey man, you look like you've seen a ghost. Everything all right?" I glance at Sarah, who nods encouragingly. We've been having some trouble with Mili, I admit. She's been spreading lies and trying to turn Sarah against me. Lisa, ever the pragmatic one, leans forward, her expression serious. What's her endgame? What does she get out of this? "That's what we're trying to figure out," Sarah replies. "We think she's just bitter about the divorce and wants to hurt Michael any way she can." Mark frowns, his jovial demeanor replaced by concern. "That's messed up. Is there anything we can do to help?" I explain our plan to show a united front and let Mili see that her attempts are futile. Mark and Lisa listen intently, nodding along. "That sounds like a good start," Lisa says, "but maybe you should also consider legal action. If she's harassing you, there might be grounds for a restraining order." Sarah nods. "We've thought about that. We're hoping it doesn't come to that, but it's good to know it's an option." As we discuss our next steps, I feel a sense of camaraderie and support. We're not alone in this. We have friends who care and are willing to help. The following week, Sarah and I decide to pay a visit to Mili's old friend, Natalie. Natalie has always been somewhat of a wild card, but she's known Mili for years and might have some insight into her current behavior. We arrive at Natalie's apartment in the early evening. The building is old but well-maintained, with ivy climbing up the brick facade. Natalie greets us at the door, her vibrant red hair and eclectic fashion sense as striking as ever. "Michael, Sarah. What a surprise," she exclaims, ushering us inside. The apartment is a colorful mix of vintage furniture and modern art. Natalie gestures for us to sit on the plush, mismatched sofas in the living room. "So, what brings you two here?" she asks, curiosity gleaming in her eyes. I exchange a glance with Sarah before diving in. It's about Mili. She's been causing a lot of trouble, spreading lies about me to Sarah. We were hoping you might have some insight into why she's doing this. Natalie's expression shifts from curiosity to concern. "I've heard some things, but I didn't realize it was that bad. Mili's been really angry and bitter since the divorce. She feels like her life fell apart and blames you for everything." Sarah leans forward, her voice gentle. "But why go to such lengths to hurt Michael? Why drag me into it?" Natalie sighs, running a hand through her hair. "I think she's trying to reclaim some sense of control. She's always been a bit of a control freak, and the divorce shattered her illusion of control over her life. She probably thinks that if she can ruin your relationship, it'll somehow validate her feelings of betrayal and loss. It makes a twisted kind of sense. Mili's need for control had always been a source of tension in our marriage. Now it seems she's taken that need to a dangerous extreme." "Thank you, Natalie," I say. "This helps a lot." At least we have a better understanding of what's driving her. Natalie nods, her eyes filled with sympathy. I'm sorry you're going through this. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. We leave Natalie's apartment feeling more informed but also more resolved. Understanding Mili's motives is one thing, dealing with them is another. That night, as Sarah and I sit in the living room, I notice a message notification on my phone. It's from an unknown number. I open it, my heart sinking as I read the words. You think you're so smart, don't you? This isn't over. I'll make sure everyone knows who you really are. Sarah reads the message over my shoulder, her face tightening with anger. She's not going to stop, is she? I shake my head, feeling a mix of frustration and determination. No, she's not. But we're not going to let her win. Sarah takes my hand, her grip strong and reassuring. We'll get through this, Michael, together. The next day, we decide to take a more proactive approach. We visit a lawyer, Ms. Roberts, who specializes in family law and harassment cases. Her office is a stark contrast to the chaos of our situation: calm, orderly, and professional. Ms. Roberts listens carefully as we explain our predicament. It sounds like you have grounds for a restraining order, she says, her tone matter of fact. Harassment, defamation, and emotional distress are all serious issues. Sarah nods. We were hoping it wouldn't come to this, but it's clear that Mili isn't going to stop. Ms. Roberts gives us a reassuring smile. You're making the right decision. It's important to protect yourselves. I'll start the paperwork, and we'll get this process moving. Leaving the lawyer's office, I feel a sense of relief mixed with anxiety. This step is necessary, but it also means escalating the conflict with Mili. That evening, as we sit on the porch, Sarah leans her head on my shoulder. We're doing the right thing, she says softly. I know, I reply, wrapping my arm around her. I just hate that it's come to this. Sarah looks up at me, her eyes filled with determination. We'll get through it. We have each other, and we have the truth on our side. As the sun sets, casting a warm glow over the neighborhood, I feel a renewed sense of hope. This battle with Mili is far from over, but with Sarah by my side and the support of our friends, I know we can face whatever comes next. And I've decided that, no matter how hard Mili tries to tear us apart, we will stand strong. Together, we will find a way to put an end to her campaign of lies and reclaim our peace. A week later, the tension in our lives has only intensified. The restraining order process is in motion, but Mili's harassment hasn't slowed. If anything, it's gotten worse. She seems to be everywhere, always one step ahead. It's exhausting, but Sarah and I are determined to see this through. One evening, Sarah and I decide to meet Mark and Lisa at our favorite bar, the Rusty Nail. It's a cozy place, the kind of bar where the regulars greet you with a nod and the bartender knows your drink order by heart. We hope to unwind, but the moment we step inside, I feel a prickle of unease. Mark waves us over to a booth in the back. As we approach, I spot a familiar figure at the bar. Mili. She's chatting with a couple of guys, but her eyes flick over to us, and a smirk curls her lips. Sarah tenses beside me. Let's just ignore her, I whisper, squeezing her hand. We slide into the booth, Mark and Lisa immediately picking up on our tension. What's wrong? Lisa asks, concern etched on her face. Mili's here, Sarah replies, glancing over her shoulder. She's just there, watching us. Mark's jaw tightens. This is getting out of hand. Maybe we should talk to her, tell her to back off. I shake my head. No, confronting her in public could make things worse. We need to stick to our plan and keep documenting everything for the restraining order. Lisa nods. Agreed. Let's just focus on having a good time and not let her ruin our night. We try to relax, but it's difficult. Every so often, I catch Mili looking our way, her gaze unsettling. After a while, she stands up and makes her way toward our booth. My heart sinks. Michael, Sarah, she says, her voice sickly sweet. How lovely to see you here. Enjoying your evening. What do you want, Mili? I ask, keeping my tone as neutral as possible. Oh, nothing. Just wanted to say hi, she replies, her eyes cold and calculating. It's so nice to see you two out and about. You look happy. We are happy, Sarah says, her voice firm, and nothing you do is going to change that. Mili's smile falters for a moment, then she shrugs. We'll see about that. She turns and walks away, leaving a chill in her wake. Mark lets out a breath. She's not going to stop, is she? No, I admit, feeling a knot of frustration tighten in my chest. But we have to keep pushing forward. The next day, Sarah and I meet with Ms. Roberts again to update her on the latest incidents. Her office is a sanctuary of calm in the midst of our chaos. We're almost there, Ms. Roberts says, reviewing the notes we've given her. With the new evidence, we should be able to get a hearing date soon. In the meantime, continue documenting everything. Thank you, Sarah says, her voice weary but grateful. We just want this to be over. Ms. Roberts gives us a reassuring smile. It will be. Just hang in there a little longer. A few days later, as I'm leaving work, I notice a figure standing by my car. It's Jess. She looks anxious, glancing around nervously. Jess, I call out, walking over. What are you doing here? She bites her lip, looking conflicted. Michael, I need to talk to you. It's about Mili. I glance around, making sure no one's watching. Okay, what's going on? She's getting desperate, Jess says, her voice low. She's planning something big, and I think you need to be careful. I didn't want to get involved, but I can't just stand by and let her hurt you. My heart races. What is she planning? Jess hesitates, then leans in closer. She's trying to get someone to help her stage an incident, to make you look like the bad guy. She wants to set you up, Michael. She's lost it. A cold wave of dread washes over me. Why are you telling me this? Jess's eyes soften. Because I can't let her do this. It's wrong. You need to be on your guard. Thank you, Jess, I say, sincerity in my voice. This means a lot. She nods, looking relieved. Just be careful, okay? That evening I tell Sarah about my conversation with Jess. She's understandably shaken. We need to be extra vigilant, she says, her eyes wide with worry. If she's really planning something like this, we have to be ready. I nod. We will be. We won't let her win. The next morning, I wake up to find Sarah already up, her laptop open on the kitchen table. She's been researching ways to protect ourselves, to ensure we have solid alibis and evidence to counter any false claims Mili might make. Morning, I say, kissing her on the cheek. Find anything useful? Yes, she replies, looking determined. We need to make sure we're never alone in situations where she could set you up. Always have someone with you, and if she tries to provoke you, record everything. Good idea, I agree. And we should probably invest in some security cameras for the house, just in case. Sarah nods. I was thinking the same thing. We spend the day setting up cameras around the house and making sure our phones are always charged and ready to record. It feels a bit paranoid, but we can't afford to take any chances. That afternoon, Mark calls me, his voice urgent. Hey man, I just heard something you need to know about. Mili's been talking to some people around town, trying to spread more lies about you. She's saying you're dangerous, that you're stalking her. Anger flares in my chest. Thanks for the heads up, Mark. We're setting up some precautions, but it's good to know what she's saying. Be careful, Michael. She's really lost it. I will. Thanks, Mark. I hang up, feeling a mix of anger and determination. This has to end. Later that night, Sarah and I sit on the couch, reviewing the security footage from our new cameras. So far, there's nothing out of the ordinary, but it's reassuring to know we have an extra layer of protection. As we finish up, my phone buzzes with a message from Ms. Roberts. Good news, it reads. We have a hearing date. 2 weeks from today. I show the message to Sarah, and she lets out a relieved sigh. Finally, maybe we can put an end to this nightmare. Yeah, I agree, feeling a glimmer of hope. 2 more weeks. The next 2 weeks are tense, but we manage to avoid any major incidents. Mili continues her campaign of lies, but with our precautions in place, we're able to document everything and keep her at bay. The day of the hearing arrives, and we head to the courthouse with Ms. Roberts. The building is imposing, a stark reminder of the seriousness of the situation. We take our seats in the courtroom, waiting for the judge to arrive. Mili is there, of course, her expression one of smug satisfaction. But I refuse to let her intimidate me. I have the truth on my side and I'm determined to see this through. The hearing begins and Ms. Roberts presents our case with confidence and clarity. She outlines the harassment, the lies and the threats, providing evidence for everything. Sarah and I both testify, recounting the numerous incidents and the toll they've taken on our lives. Mili's lawyer tries to paint a different picture, but it's clear that her story is full of holes. She's desperate, and it shows. After what feels like an eternity, the judge finally speaks. Based on the evidence presented, I find that there is sufficient cause to grant the restraining order. Ms. Mili Roberts is hereby ordered to cease all contact with Mr. Michael Johnson and Ms. Sarah Clark. Any violation of this order will result in immediate legal consequences. Relief floods through me as the judge's words sink in. It's over. We've won. As we leave the courtroom, Sarah takes my hand, a smile spreading across her face. We did it, Michael. We finally did it. Yeah, I say, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. We did. But as we walk out of the courthouse, I can't shake the feeling that this might not be the end. Mili's desperation and anger are still out there, and I know she won't give up easily. For now, though, we have a measure of peace, and together we'll face whatever comes next, just as we always have, one step at a time. The days following the court hearing are surprisingly peaceful. Sarah and I finally start to relax, enjoying the sense of security that the restraining order brings. Mili's absence is a welcome relief, and life slowly begins to return to normal. But the feeling of unease lingers at the back of my mind, a nagging suspicion that something isn't quite right. One evening, as Sarah and I are settling down for dinner, my phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number. I open it, my heart racing as I read the words. You think you've won, but it's not over. Meet me at the old factory tonight at 10 p.m. if you want the truth. I show the message to Sarah, her eyes widening in shock. What do you think it means, she asks. I don't know, I reply, my mind racing. But I think we need to find out. Sarah looks at me, her expression determined. We're in this together. Let's go. The old factory is a dilapidated building on the outskirts of town, long abandoned and shrouded in darkness. We arrive a few minutes before 10, the air thick with tension. As we approach the entrance, a shadowy figure steps out from the darkness. It's Jess. Jess, I call out, my voice echoing in the empty space. What are you doing here? She steps closer, her face illuminated by the faint moonlight. Michael, Sarah, I'm sorry for dragging you into this, but you need to know the truth. What truth? Sarah asks, her voice steady but laced with anxiety. Jess takes a deep breath. It's not Mili who's been behind all of this. It's me. Shock and confusion wash over me. What? Why? Jess looks down, guilt etched on her face. I was jealous. When you and Mili split up, I thought I might have a chance with you, Michael. But then you met Sarah, and I couldn't stand it. I thought if I made it look like Mili was trying to sabotage your relationship, I could drive a wedge between you and Sarah. Sarah's eyes widen in disbelief. You mean, you've been lying to us this whole time? All those messages, the harassment, it was you? Jess nods, tears streaming down her face. Yes, and I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. I feel a mix of anger and betrayal. Why would you do something like this, Jess? We trusted you. I know, she sobs. I thought I could control the situation, but it got out of hand, and when Mili found out what I was doing, she threatened to expose me. That's why I came to you, pretending to help. Sarah steps forward, her voice cold. You've caused so much pain, Jess. And for what? A twisted sense of jealousy. Jess collapses to the ground, her shoulders shaking with sobs. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I take a deep breath, trying to process everything. We need to go to the police, Jess. You have to take responsibility for what you've done. Jess nods, her face a mask of despair. I'll go. I'll tell them everything. The following day, Jess turns herself in to the police, confessing to everything. The news of her actions spreads quickly, and Mili is exonerated. She reaches out to us, not with anger, but with a weary sense of relief. I didn't know what Jess was up to, Mili says during a tense meeting at a local cafe. I was angry after the divorce, yes, but I never wanted to hurt you like this. I believe you, I reply, feeling a strange mix of emotions, and I'm sorry for assuming the worst. Mili nods, a hint of sadness in her eyes. Let's just move on from all of this. We all deserve some peace. With Jess's confession, the restraining order is lifted, and life begins to settle down again. It takes time to rebuild trust and to heal from the months of turmoil, but with Sarah by my side, I feel stronger than ever. One evening, as we sit on the porch, watching the sunset, Sarah turns to me with a thoughtful expression. It's incredible how everything unfolded. We went through so much, but we came out stronger. I nod, squeezing her hand. Yeah, we did. And we have each other. That's what matters. She smiles, leaning her head on my shoulder. No more secrets, no more lies, just us. As the sky darkens and the stars begin to twinkle above, I feel a profound sense of gratitude. We faced the storm and came out the other side, our bond unbroken and our love stronger than ever. And as we sit together, embracing the peace we fought so hard to achieve, I know that no matter what challenges come our way, we will face them together. A few weeks later, we receive a letter from Jess. She's in therapy and working to make amends for the pain she caused. In her letter, she expresses deep regret and a sincere desire to change. I don't expect you to forgive me, she writes. But I want you to know that I'm truly sorry. I'm getting the help I need, and I hope one day I can make things right. Sarah and I decide to write back, offering our forgiveness. It's a small step, but it feels right. We've been through enough darkness, it's time to let in the light. As we seal the envelope and drop it in the mailbox, I feel a sense of closure. The past is behind us, and the future is ours to shape. With Sarah by my side, I know that whatever comes next, we will face it with strength, love, and unwavering support for each other.